So I have a special mystery guest speaker I want to tell you a little bit about. So how many of you heard of Robert Kiyosaki? You know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author that way? Okay. Well, this is what Robert had to say about our speaker tonight. This is a quote. He says, "Thank you very much for your marketing ideas. They were timely, informative, and much needed by me." Not bad? How many of you heard of Robert Allen, best-selling author of Nothing Down and Multiple Streams of Income? Okay. Well, this is what Robert Allen had to say about our speaker tonight. He said, "Your marketing and copywriting ability has been proven to be one of the best in North America." It's good. Now I'll go on more. How many people have heard of Dan Kennedy? Well, I was curious to know. Dan Kennedy, the marketing guru, do you know him from the United States? A few in the room, okay? Well, this is, and if you know Dan Kennedy is very pragmatic. Last guy to give you a testimonial or a good word of mouth for those people that really know him. And I know Dan Kennedy personally, myself. This is what Dan had to say. Dan said, "I've known and done business with what I'm calling Mr. X for now, for many years. Even while being paid to provide consulting to him, I learned things about a key marketing strategy that has guided my own development for years and is substantially responsible for my success and wealth." This is a pretty powerful speaker. He actually just lives right here in Vancouver. Well, I want to tell you a little bit more about this. Our speaker and our facilitator tonight, he founded and created what is known as the Real Estate Investment Network, which is better known as REIN. It's amazing. This is a concept that he seeded in his mind that created this organization that at one time had more than 1,200 members across the country. He also created the Mind, Money, and Wealth seminar. He's also the creator of what he calls the Q solution and the M solution. Now, what amazes me is that he's had Parkinson's disease for the last 25 years. And most of his successes occurred after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. What is unusual for me is I met him in year 2000 myself. I've never known this person without Parkinson's. That's the only picture and image I have of him, because he's always had Parkinson's, so I know him. He has 2 daughters who are professionally ballet dancing in Europe right now. He's going to actually come out of retirement, he says, to relaunch his Mind, Money, Wealth seminar. Now, our mystery speaker here has both been a mentor to myself and to Dan Lok. We still get together about every 4 or 6 weeks in a small mastermind group and still mastermind together. And what I'd like us to do is to give us a big warm welcome for my friend, my mentor, Mr. Alan Jacques.
Don't worry, I usually stumble, I don't usually fall. But if I do fall, I usually bounce up pretty good.
I'll help you out.
So, here's the question tonight. Are you going to hear from an old man who's kind of gimpy, or are you going to hear from a guy who knows something about marketing and business? You have to wait and find out. Takes me a while to get organized up here, just be a bit patient. One thing about having Parkinson's disease, you learn patience. Because as it progresses, you slow down. It takes me 4 times longer to fold a towel than it used to. So I don't fold towels anymore. I'm a housekeeper. In the fall of 1969, after I hitchhiked across Canada and got home, I went to my parents' house for, I guess, I just lived there for another year or so after that. And so in the fall of '69, I decided that I wanted to learn how to drive a car. So my dad has this 1961 Chevrolet Impala. And back then they were big cars, they were huge. So I said, "Dad, you can teach me how to drive." And at that time he knew I passed the marijuana stage and I wasn't doing that anymore, so he thought, I'll teach this guy how to drive a car. And so we went out a couple of times and I almost cracked up his car and he just freaked out. Don't get too through with my hand, it shakes once in a while. If it does, just wave at it and it'll calm down eventually. So I went out in the car a couple of times with my dad and this was hopeless. Like, he was really afraid his car was going to get cracked up, and I was afraid I was going to crack up his car. So we agreed that I would take lessons. So I enrolled in an 8-lesson program at a local driving school. This is out in Burnaby, where I was brought up. And I ended up with this old German driving instructor in a Volkswagen Squareback, a Type 3 Volkswagen from the 60s. Some of you know what those are all about. They're kind of rare, but sitting at dual controls and everything else. And this old German he was a pretty good instructor. I learned fast, and I mastered most driving things. I could even parallel park in the third lesson. But by the fifth lesson, I still had one major problem. No, actually, I went where it was.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. The best thing, if you see me doing something weird, just ignore me. I have a lot of weird things that, you know, people always want to correct things, and because I don't do things that are normal.
I don't know if you remember, but I know it from almost 30 years ago.
Really?
Yes.
What's your name?
Hassan Mihaili.
I mean, I know the name. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
So the problem I had that we became really apparent in the fifth lesson was whenever I came up to a stop sign on a busy street, I'd freeze. I looked down the road and all I'd see was Mack trucks, buses, and cars coming at me, and I couldn't drive out in traffic. I had to wait till there was no cars at all, and I'd pull out in the traffic. My driving instructor got kind of upset at this because he knew I wouldn't pass the driving test, so I kept doing that kind of thing. So every lesson we worked at it. And finally, we did it one more time. I came into the busy intersection, looked down to the left at all the traffic coming at me, and I just froze again. And then all of a sudden he got really agitated. Grabbed control of the steering wheel. There's dual controls, and he just took his steering wheel, booted the gas, scooted out in the traffic, roared down the next street and pulled over to the side of the road, turned off the engine, took the keys out and put it on the dashboard. And he turned and looked at me and he said, "Alan, look for holes, not cars. Look for holes, not cars." He said, "I'm 18 years old. I got long hair. I just lived across Canada. I played in a rock band. This guy's trying to tell me to look for holes, not cars?" Then I got it. I got what he meant. So I started up the car this time, rode around the next corner and the next corner, back to that same intersection. This time I looked down at all the traffic coming at me, and it was the same traffic. The reality was the same as it was before. So now I noticed something different. There's gaps between the cars, some of the, and the buses and the trucks. Some of the gaps were huge, big enough to fit a car into. So I rode out of the traffic. Ever since then, I've never had any problem with driving in traffic anymore. Even though I have Parkinson's, I still drive today, and I still roar in our traffic. And also, guess what one guy said to me. Now, parallel that to life. The reality that we all face is the same, but different people have different belief systems. So if you have the same reality, different belief, you have a different result. Same belief, same reality, different belief, different result. The driving instructor story magnifies it real clearly what it's all about. Today, in our society, in our culture, in our economic world, there are opportunities every day that people pass by because they have a belief system that says that that's a bad deal, or they don't even see the deal. Most deals that are out there, people don't even know they're out there. Everybody knows for years that most jobs are acquired not by ads in newspapers or online. They're acquired because of who you know. And most things in life are like that way. So did you just talk about this early on about relationships? So tonight what we're going to do is something a bit different. You're not going to hear me talk much tonight. You guys are going to do most of the talking. We're going to do something called breakthrough circles tonight. Ever heard of this technique for breakthrough circles? No, probably not. I'll guarantee that most of you will walk out of here a changed person after tonight. So what I want you to do right now is to stand up. Everybody stand up. And I want you to form groups of 4. So groups of 4, and how you identify your fellow groups of 4, look for people who have clothing on their upper body that's kind of similar to yours. And if you can't find a group of 4, put your hand up and we'll come around and get you teamed up.
You got 4?
4, yeah. Got 4. I want you to go back to your chairs and form circles with your chairs. Go ahead, do that right now. Circles of 4. Use the whole room up. I want you to spend the next minute talking to your neighbors, find out each of your names, whether you like to be called, or if you have a nickname, whatever it is. Just get to know each other a little bit. Just talk for the next minute and a half, actually. Next minute and a half, get to know each other. Go ahead and do that now.
10 times your finances, 10 times your business, 10 times your marketing, 10 times your life. Hit the subscribe button now.